At number 8, Phoebe Dynaver. Remember Bridgerton? That show had us pretty enamored when it was first released. The love story that unfolded had a lot of us wishing for that kind of fairy tale romance, but it seems as though one of the show's actresses had a real life romance of her own, even if it was relatively short-lived. Actress Phoebe Dynaver, who played Daphne Bridgerton on the Netflix series, was reportedly in a relationship with Pete Davidson earlier this year, though it has since ended. Rumors of their budding romance started swirling in March of this year after Pete flew from the US to the UK to go spend time with her. For a while, their relationship was labeled as, quote, not too serious, but it was also suggested that there were still some strong feelings there because of how Pete was following Phoebe to different locations around the UK as she was filming. By mid-April, Pete seemed to have confirmed that he and Phoebe were an item during a Zoom call with students from Marquette University when he was asked who his celebrity crush was, and he responded saying, quote, I'm with my celebrity crush, that's all I can speak on, end quote. Things didn't really last much longer between Pete and Phoebe though, as sources confirmed that the pair had broken up in August, and it's been said that the long distance is what ended things. At number 7, Carly Aquilino. Up next, we have a little short-lived relationship from a few years back that you might not have known about. Two comedians in a relationship sounds like a hoot and a half, but in this case, things just didn't work out in the end. Carly Aquilino, known for being a cast member on Girl Code, dated Pete Davidson for almost a year back in 2015. There's not much to say about their relationship other than the fact that they were together. Not much information about their relationship is out there, but we do know that Pete seemed to have left a lasting impression on Carly because she did sort of comment on Pete's engagement to Ariana Grande when she posted a screenshot of a text message of someone reaching out to her after the engagement was announced. It isn't known why they broke up, they just did, but I'm sure that it isn't easy to see your ex engaged to someone else, right? Yeah. Before we continue talking about Pete Davidson's celebrity hookups and relationships, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel as well to see more videos like this one. At number 6, Kaya Jordan Gerber. Back in 2019, Pete Davidson was seen getting pretty close to Sidney Crawford's daughter, Kaya Gerber. They were linked to each other in October of that year as they were seen grabbing dinner together, and Kaya was spotted wearing a necklace with the letter P charm on it. The pair also went on a romantic getaway in Miami together as well. But even though things looked good in the beginning, apparently not everyone approved of their relationship, especially Kaya's parents. According to sources, Kaya's parents hoped that her relationship with Pete would just fizzle out, and that's exactly what ended up happening. In January 2020, reports came out saying that the couple had split up, and this came about around the time that Pete was dealing with his mental health and checked into rehab. The following month, Pete officially confirmed that he and Kaya were no longer together, saying, quote, she's very young and I'm going through a lot, and it was before I went to rehab. It just wasn't the right place or the right time at all, end quote. At number 5, Margaret Qualley. One of Pete's shorter relationships was that with actress Margaret Qualley. The two first started dating back in August of 2019, but they only lasted about 2 months together. Pete was seen in Venice with her that year, supporting Margaret as she promoted her film Seberg, which was screened at the Venice Film Festival. When they were spotted together in Italy, many people said that they looked to be really in love. One source commented on seeing the couple out in public saying, quote, Pete and Margaret were standing and chatting and laughing. There wasn't much PDA, but he was in a good mood, and the two of them were joking around. End quote. Now, things weren't really that serious between Margaret and Pete, and by the time fall came around, they had called it quits. They broke up in October of that year, but just a month prior, the actress's mom commented on her daughter's relationship with the comedian, saying, quote, she has a beautiful relationship with him, but I don't want to step on her relationship too much. They have a nice relationship, end quote. This was really more of a summer fling than anything else, and shortly after these two ended their relationship, Pete was spotted with Kaya Gerber, whom I just told you guys about. Their relationship did end on good terms, and they just stayed friends after that. At number 4, Ariana Grande. Now, everyone knows about this relationship, so I'm sure you already know the details, but we can't forget about Pete's whirlwind relationship with Ariana Grande. These two really came in hot but burned out just as quickly. Pete and Ariana revealed that they were dating in May of 2018, just after he got out of a relationship with Cassie David, whom I will tell you guys about after. Just a few weeks after getting together, Pete popped the question and the two got engaged in June of 2018. This move shocked everyone because of how soon it was, but they were crazy about each other, so who was going to stop them, right? Sadly though, things weren't meant to work out and this intense relationship fizzled out and the couple broke up in October of 2018. After that, there was a bit of drama, tattoos were covered up, Thank You Next came out and it mentioned Ariana's relationship with Pete, and Pete mentioned all of that in one of his comedy performances. They've both moved on from the situation, clearly, but I feel like a lot of people saw this ending coming because of how intense everything was in the beginning. Sometimes you just need a fling in your life, and that's okay. When you love someone hard, it can be very overwhelming. At number 3, Cassie David. Pete Davidson's relationship with Cassie David, the daughter of comedian Larry David, was Pete's first high-profile long-term relationship. Cassie and Pete started seeing each other in May of 2016, and they went through a lot together. As any couple does, they shared their struggles, but eventually it got to the point where they just couldn't carry on in a healthy relationship, and so they broke up in May of 2018. In 2020, Cassie published a collection of essays titled No One Asked for This, where she opened up about her breakup with Pete, recalling the struggles that both of them had with their mental health during their relationship, and she also exposed the fact that she and Pete broke up the day before finding out that Pete and Ariana were together. The end of Cassie and Pete's relationship was pretty painful, as you could no doubt imagine, coming out of a 2-year-long relationship, but according to sources, they are friends now and that works for them. At number 2, Kate Beckinsale. What is your stance on rebounds after a relationship? Some people are for it, others are against it. Clearly, Pete Davidson isn't opposed to a rebound because shortly after calling it quits with Ariana Grande, Pete found himself in a fling with actress Kate Beckinsale. Not that there's anything wrong with a rebound, I mean, to each their own, do what you gotta do, but a lot of people had something to say about this short-lived romance between Kate and Pete. First of all, there was the timing. Many of Ariana's fans were pretty upset to see that Pete had moved on from Ariana so quickly. Pete and Kate were seen getting pretty close together in January 2019 when they were seen flirting at a Golden Globes after party. It was all speculation until they confirmed it a few weeks later when they were seen making out at a Rangers game. Sources said that this PDA was meant as an FU to Ariana. Now, on top of the fact that Kate and Pete got together so quickly after Ariana and Pete split, people also commented on their age difference. Kate and Pete had a 20-year age gap and he was apparently only 3 years older than Kate's daughter. Either way, things didn't work out between them, and by the time April rolled around, the couple had called it quits. Explaining the breakup, one source said, quote, "Even though Kate has been in Hollywood for a long time, she struggled with the attention on her relationship with Pete. He lives his life with his heart on his sleeve." End quote. And finally, at number 1, Kim Kardashian. Now this one is the newest fling on Pete's roster. The comedian has been seen getting pretty close with Kim Kardashian, and people are wondering what's really going on here. The two sparked dating rumors back in October of this year after photos surfaced of Pete and Kim holding hands on a roller coaster, leading people to speculate that there's some kind of spark between them. A source close to them said that they are just friends and that they're just having fun together, but fans are still digging and looking for any evidence to support the theory that these two are an item. Just recently, it was reported that Pete had arranged for a private dinner with Kim on Staten Island, and they also have been spotted together in New York City, where Pete currently lives. Everything surrounding their suspected relationship happened after Kim guest hosted SNL and kissed Pete in a skit, so maybe they just bonded over that. Or maybe there's something more.
And at number 10, Joe Jonas. Joe Jonas was the first celebrity Taylor dated after she became a mainstream star. They dated from July to October of 2008, and it was highly publicized. In the end, the relationship didn't last too long, but their relationship was really what stuck with fans. After they broke up, Taylor went on The Ellen Show and told the world that Joe broke up with her on a 27-second phone call. I'm honestly still wondering how that's even possible. Then Taylor wrote songs Last Kiss and Forever and Always about him too. Then Joe moved on to actress Camila Bell, and Taylor wrote the song Better Than Revenge, which includes lyrics aimed at Camila like, "She's an actress but she's better known for the things she does on the mattress." Joe actually commented on Taylor's music surrounding their split, and he wanted the world to know that he did not cheat on Taylor like she may have implied in the songs. And at number 9, Lucas Till. Taylor and Lucas Till started dating after he starred in her music video called You Belong With Me, but their young love did not last. They dated for only 1 month in 2009, but it still got a ton of press. When asked why it didn't work for them, Lucas explained that there was not enough friction in the relationship for it to last. He added, quote, "We just really both liked each other, but most relationships work out because you get along, then you don't, then you make up and it's passionate. And with us, I just really liked her as a friend." And at number 8, Taylor Lautner. This relationship was another that did not last for too long, but it did create one of the strangest couple names in history, Taylor Squared. They were together from August to December of 2009, and they met on the set of the movie Valentine's Day, where they acted alongside each other. The pair played love interests, which clearly got sparks flying. A source revealed that after a few months of dating, they both realized that they weren't compatible for the long term. The sad song Back to December off Taylor's Speak Now album is reportedly about Lautner. In the song, she sings about regret for the way that things ended. And at number 7, John Mayer. This was probably Taylor's first serious relationship, and although it didn't last for all that long, it led to the creation of the hit song Dear John. They dated from December of 2009 to February of 2010, and there was a 12-year age difference between them. They first started dating after they collaborated on the song Half of My Heart, but things went rocky pretty quickly, which is evident by the lyrics in the song. One line went, quote, "Dear John, I see it all now it was wrong. Don't you think 19 is too young to be played by your dark twisted games, when I loved you so?" But John Mayer actually clapped back at the way that he was portrayed in her music. He told Rolling Stone in 2012, quote, "It made me feel terrible because I didn't deserve it. I'm pretty good at taking accountability now, and I never did anything to deserve that. It was a really lousy thing for her to do." And at number 6, Jake Gyllenhaal. After the release of the 10-minute version of All Too Well, I think we all know there's crazy tension between Taylor and Jake Gyllenhaal. These two had a hot and heavy romance between October of 2010 and January of 2011. The pair also had an age gap of 9 years, which has raised some eyebrows. The romance was so intense that apparently Jake paid $160,000 just so he could fly her out on a private jet for a date. But then they split, and she poured her heart out on the album Red, more specifically in the song All Too Well, when she gave details about their romance and the tension that led to their split. Some fans questioned how they could have had such a whirlwind romance if they only dated for a few months. But it's been widely rumored that Taylor actually lost her virginity to Jake, so that's why the relationship was filled with so many highs, then lows when they split. Halfway at number 5, Connor Kennedy. Taylor and Connor Kennedy had an intense summer fling in 2012 that started from July to October. They were first spotted together sharing a lunch in Mount Kisco, New York. Then throughout the rest of the summer, they were caught by paparazzi in tons of coupley photos. It looked pretty serious at one point. Taylor even bought a $5 million house by his in Cape Cod. But apparently that was one of the things that started their downfall. One of Connor's close friends claimed, quote, "Connor liked Taylor, don't get me wrong, but this business of her buying a house on the Cape made him nervous." Although at this point things were still pretty good between them. But then a feud broke out. Apparently Connor's family accused Taylor of crashing one of their family weddings and making things very awkward for the couple getting married. Her reps denied the tension, but clearly things were on the rocks at that point because they broke up shortly after. And number 4, Harry Styles. This is probably Taylor's shortest relationship, but it was so passionate she basically wrote an entire album because of it. The pair dated from December of 2012 to January of 2013, and they were caught by paparazzi a few times out and about. But then almost as fast as it started, it was over. One source said they got into a huge fight while on vacation, and it led to Taylor leaving the vacation and Harry staying behind to let off some steam. Then she wrote the hit song I Knew You Were Trouble because of Harry, along with the album 1989, which includes many more songs believed to be about Harry, most notably the song Style, which is basically named after him. Although the pair are apparently on good terms now. And at number 3, Calvin Harris. This relationship was easily the most scandalous. After this pair broke up, they actually got into a public feud. The couple dated from March of 2015 to June of 2016 and were introduced by their mutual friend Ellie Goulding. The relationship looked very positive and lasted over a year, but they broke up shortly after their 1-year anniversary. Their split seemed to be amicable at first, but then Taylor was seen kissing Tom Hiddleston only 2 weeks after the split. Apparently Harris felt blindsided and took his anger out on Twitter. Harris tweeted that Taylor's team was trying to make him look bad when she exposed that she co-wrote the song This Is What You Came For Calvin Harris and Rihanna. Then he tweeted that Taylor was trying to, quote, bury him like Katy, alluding towards Taylor's feud with Katy Perry. He eventually opened up about his social media rant, saying that he, quote, just snapped. And at number 2, Tom Hiddleston. These two started their relationship almost immediately after Taylor split with Calvin Harris. They dated from June to September of 2016. The pair even made their relationship official in the public's eye when they attended the 2016 Met Gala together, which was a huge step for Taylor. Although rumors of cheating swirled around the couple, considering they started dating so soon after her and Calvin Harris split up. Their whirlwind PDA-filled romance took them all over the globe, with stops in Italy, Tennessee, Rhode Island, New York City, Australia, and England. But of course, their summer romance would end pretty quickly. A source revealed that apparently Tom wanted their relationship to be even more public, while Taylor wanted to keep it more low-key. Tom later addressed if the relationship was all for show in a GQ interview, where he said, quote, "Of course it was real. Taylor is an amazing woman. She's generous and kind and lovely, and we had the best time." And finally, number 1, Joe Alwyn. Taylor's current relationship is her longest, and many think this is the man that Taylor is going to marry. We're not sure when exactly Joe and Taylor started dating, because she went pretty much radio silent on social media after her split with Tom, but many think they got together near the end of 2016. At this time, Taylor was caught in a public feud with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, but other than that, she was nowhere to be seen, online or out in the world by paparazzi. But even though she was laying low, her dating life was in full swing. News broke in May of 2017 that Taylor was dating English actor Joe Alwyn, and they'd been seeing each other for months. And it's clear that things are very serious. Joe was briefly in Taylor's documentary Miss Americana, where she spoke of how he helps her with her writing. Then during her Grammy acceptance speech said, quote, "To Joe, who's the first person that I play every single song that I write, and I had the best time writing songs with you in quarantine." Based on some song lyrics, fans have even speculated the two might be engaged, but neither person has confirmed it. A source said about the couple, quote, "They've been continuing to be pretty low-key about their relationship to the outside world to continue to protect it. They've discussed future plans, and Taylor can see herself marrying Joe one day."
At number 10, Rihanna and Travis Scott. Here's a celeb hookup that might surprise you because it certainly surprised me when I found out. Rihanna and Travis Scott reportedly dated back in 2015, though their relationship story is a little foggy and confusing since they never wanted anyone to find out about it in the first place. Everything was super hush-hush, so don't tell anybody I told you this. Basically, their friends with benefits / actual relationship took place about 6 years or so ago, and neither of them outright confirmed their relationship. When Travis was asked about Rihanna in an interview, he described her as being his muse and seemed to have had very passionate feelings for her, though he never chose to make these things public. He actually got incredibly upset when a magazine published details about him and Rihanna because they were told not to release those details, but they went against his wishes and they did it anyway. You'd think that with that sort of reaction, it was Travis who wanted to keep his fling on the DL, but it was actually Rihanna who wanted everything to be a secret because apparently she was embarrassed to be with him. The details as to who was the one who broke things off in the end remained a mystery, but we do know that things ended in 2016 shortly before Travis was linked to Kylie Jenner. At number 9, Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox. Looks like this celebrity fling was as juicy as it was on screen. After keeping this little hookup a secret for quite some time, Shia LaBeouf finally spilled the beans, so to speak, after revealing that he had a little romance with his Transformers co-star Megan Fox back in the day. In 2011, Shia revealed in an interview that he had a brief entanglement with the actress, saying that being on set and portraying two people in love caused their personal lives and work lives to become a little blurred. Shia was said to have been very protective of Megan while they were together, even having an outburst in a convenience store and hopping behind the counter to have a physical confrontation with an employee who was allegedly rude to Megan. To make things even juicier, this romance was apparently going on during the time that Megan and Brian Austin Green were allegedly engaged, so this was quite the entanglement. Years later, Megan said that she was in love with Shia at the time, confirming their brief fling. At number 8, Michael Cera and Aubrey Plaza. If you're a fan of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, then you're familiar with how the character Julie Powers isn't too fond of Scott Pilgrim. Well, it might come as a surprise to you to find out that the actors who portrayed Julie and Scott in the 2010 film are very different from their counterparts on screen in the sense that they certainly don't hate each other, and they actually dated for some time around the release of the movie. Michael Cera and Aubrey Plaza met on the set of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and they ended up dating for about a year and a half. Things were pretty serious between them as they almost got married too. When Aubrey was a guest star on RuPaul's Drag Race back in 2016, she told Ru about her relationship with Michael, saying, quote, "We drove across the country after we shot that movie and almost got married in Vegas." Aubrey also opened up saying that she and Michael remain on good terms even though their romantic relationship didn't exactly work out. Their relationship remained pretty secret until after things were over between them, so we didn't really get to live through the Scott and Julie shipping like we would have liked to, but hey, they come and they go. At number 7, Janet Jackson and Matthew McConaughey. Alright, we've got another surprising celebrity hookup, this one including the man, the myth, the legend, Matthew McConaughey, and the amazing queen herself, Janet Jackson. Now, I had no idea that these two used to be an item, but it turns out that they were, but only for a very brief moment. These two decided to give their love a try back in the early 2000s, but they weren't compatible at all, and they only lasted about one date before pulling the plug on whatever fling was going on between them. The pair met back in February 2002 at the Grammy Awards and reportedly hit it off after that first encounter. They went on a date shortly afterwards, but as Matthew would later admit years later, things just fizzled out after that one date. They decided that they would just be friends, and that's where they left things. Both went on to have other relationships and never looked back, but it still makes for a very interesting secret celebrity hookup. At number 6, Overstreet and Emma Watson. Now, there's not much information on this relationship because it was kept so private, but there's word that Overstreet and Emma Watson were an item for a little while back in 2018. In early 2018, it was rumored that and Emma were seeing each other, but when this news broke, their relationship was still fairly new and there wasn't much to say about it other than rumors and speculation. They were first spotted together at a concert in February of 2018, and then later at an Oscars viewing party the following month. Not long after the news of their apparent relationship broke, they were seen again holding hands, and this sort of sealed the deal for most people, though again, nothing was really confirmed. But then things seem to have just fizzled out and died as the reports came out saying that the two had broken up after 6 months of dating. Less than a month after that, they were seen together again, and there was speculation that they had gotten back together, but again, nothing was ever confirmed. Emma is known to try and keep her private life private, so that could be the reason why this relationship mostly flew under the radar, but it's still something surprising to note. At number 5, Rihanna and Ashton Kutcher. Here's the tea on this fling, so get your mugs ready. Apparently, Rihanna and Ashton had a little entanglement back in 2012 as the singer was spotted leaving the actor's house in the early hours of the morning back in March of that year. Sources suggested that the two had reportedly had a one-night stand, noting that the singer had arrived at the house around midnight that night and left around 4 a.m. This spotting of sorts confirmed some people's speculation that there was something going on between the two of them because this wasn't the first time they were seen getting close to one another. According to one source, they had been flirting with each other, texting, and meeting up in hotels. Other sources said that at the time, they were just two single people having fun and saying, quote, both of them love having a good time and think they're too busy for anything serious just yet. There was no definite end to this fling, and since it wasn't anything serious, it doesn't really matter, but it's still interesting to find out that these two Hollywood stars were so close at one point. At number 4 is Sharon Osbourne and Leno. When you picture Sharon Osbourne, you can't really see her without her other half, Ozzy, but there was once a time before Ozzy came along and you won't believe who she dated. In 2013, Sharon admitted to having a quote, flingy wingy with Leno. Sharon revealed on an episode of The Talk that when she was 25, before she started seeing Ozzy, she had moved to America and was working at a place that was quote, full of men. One day she met a man who turned out to be Leno, and Sharon and her friend decided to prank call him one evening. Well, this prank call ended up turning into a full-blown conversation and then a little bit more. Elaborating on the situation, Sharon said, quote, he came to my house and he met me and he had a little fling. And the fling was more a fling for me and not a fling enough for him. Because a couple months into it, he brought around his real love of his life for me to meet, and she was lovely, and they took me to Fatburger and they showed me around town. It was brief and Sharon went on to marry Ozzy anyway, but it's so fun to learn that these two celebrities had a fling. At number 3, Lea Michele and Matthew Morrison. TV and Broadway actress Lea Michele was known for having had a serious relationship with the late Corey Monteith, but it seems as though Corey wasn't the only Glee star that she was in a relationship with. In Lea's 2014 book, Brunette Ambition, she wrote about her experience on Glee, shooting the show's pilot, and revealing that before meeting the rest of the cast, she had already worked with Jenna Urshiewicz and Matthew Morrison on Broadway. And saying, quote, Matt had been a friend of mine for years, and in fact, we'd actually dated back in the day for a Broadway beat. During the filming of Glee, there were apparently some rumors saying that she and Matthew were getting a little romantic because they were so close, but she shut down those rumors saying that there was nothing romantic between them, and that they were just friends. There isn't really much information as to how long they dated and what made them end things. All we know is that it was very brief, so I guess you can just draw your own conclusions. At number 2, Johnny Depp and Jennifer Grey. All people can talk about in regards to Johnny Depp these days is his awful experience with Amber Heard and the drama surrounding that, but Amber obviously isn't the only one Johnny has been with. Johnny has also been linked to Vanessa Paradis, with whom he has 2 kids, and he was also married to Lori Ann Allison back in the 80s, and there are a number of other celebrities he's dated, but there's another star that the actor dated that not everyone knows about. Johnny Depp had a pretty serious relationship with actress Jennifer Grey back in the day. The 2 Hollywood stars only dated for about a year, but things were serious enough for Johnny to propose to Jennifer in 1989. They were set to get married the following year, but clearly that never happened. They really kept their relationship super secret, so there aren't many details about their fling other than the fact that it happened, but it's still something that not many people know about. I wonder what happened between them. And finally, at number 1, Tom Cruise and Cher. This next celebrity fling surprised me the most, so let me know if this one caught you by surprise as well. Back in the 80s, Tom Cruise and Cher were an item. I had no clue that they were ever together, but apparently it's true. Apparently Tom and Cher first met at Madonna and Sean Penn's wedding, and they sort of hit it off. Though there was a 16-year age gap between them, that didn't stop them from having a little fling. Cher reportedly told James Corden that Tom was one of her top 5 lovers, so clearly things were pretty good between them, right? The singer also told Oprah Winfrey that Tom could have been a, quote, great big romance if they hadn't been forced to break things off due to their busy schedules. They're apparently still pretty good friends, and part of me wishes that I could have seen this romance between them because it sounds like it was something incredible.